The lightning shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets. The storm is like a brother, it knows me like no other. So let it rumble, let it roll, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your calm and easy, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the tree, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. I see the waters rising with waves as strong as iron. My soul was born for running. The darkness is my compass, and I will follow where it goes, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your sunshine story, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Sirens ring and run for shelter. I will chase that storm forever. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like they can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, feels like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. So let the rain come down. Let the rain come down.
My cat's biting me again. Church, please. Okay. Thank you for being here. I don't see anybody in chat, but I'm going to thank you for being here anyway, in case you come in late. I want to apologize for my outburst yesterday. Let me give you my face so you can see who I am. That I really mean what I'm saying. Welcome to the locker room. Okay. I want to apologize. Quit, church. It's a cat. I'm sorry. He's biting my toes. So I want to apologize for my outburst yesterday. I had gotten a text message that was not meant for me to see. And it really upset me. But I didn't respond to the text message. So, yeah. I said I'm mean. I'm a mean person. I guess I'm manipulative. I guess that's because I'm not responding to their text messages. I'm not responding to their threats of shutting down my page or my YouTube channel. I'm not responding. I have a right to do that. It doesn't mean I'm being mean. It just means I refuse to have drama. Then I broke out with drama because I had a breakdown yesterday. So anyway, I want to apologize for that. I was out of line. So let's go back to what we were going to talk about yesterday, and that is Sebastian Rogers. It is now 3:05 in the afternoon on July the 10th. And I get to see my husband in 7 days. Yay! I'm excited. He's an over-the-road truck driver, and he stays out a long time, but he was staying out an extra long time so he could come home for our son's 18th birthday. So, yeah. Because if his wheels ain't turning, he ain't making money. And that's his philosophy. If his wheels are turning, he ain't spending time with his family. That's our philosophy. But we have to sacrifice that because we know he loves us and we know he's there to support us, not only financially, but socially, mentally, physically, in every way we need support. My husband is there. And that's life. So let's put on our smiles. Okay. And let's get into this because let me put up my fair use disclaimer. Very first thing. Where did it go? There we go. Now I can see it. I had it laid down. All right. There's our fair use disclaimer from the United States Congress saying we can use this information because I do not intend to harm anybody else's information. So thank you for being here. I see three. Hi, H. Davis. Hi. I'm glad you're here. So, okay. We're going to talk about Sebastian Rogers again. And I want to start right in with the Duchess interview because that happened like 8 days or something after Sebastian went missing. This is the first information that I was able to find that had anything to do with Sebastian. So, I mean, there might have been more, but I don't know. So, let's get into this. I want to read part of it. This is a part of it. Oh, let me pull it up on my screen. This is entitled First Interview, Katie and Chris Proudfoot, Missing Teen, Sebastian Rogers, Amber Alert, Tennessee. What's the matter, H. Davis? Are you going on vacation or something? We're going to miss you. But yesterday when I was trying to, okay, well, I'll just put it this way. I'll pray that everything turns out well while you're gone. I'll pray for you for everything while you're gone. Okay, so I was talking about the Charlie Project, and I could not for the life of me think about the word Amber Alert. I don't know why I couldn't think Amber Alert. I don't know. But anyway, Duchess has it here, and if I'd have looked at it yesterday, I could have calmed myself down and thought about it. I'm so sorry. So anyway, I'm going to, you can see right here, because I'm using her info, I'm going to click on this and give her a thumbs up. And let's get into this. I scrolled past her opening intro, which was very nice, by the way.
Hey, everybody. My name is Duchess, and this is where we talk about true crime and missing cases. And tonight, I want to talk to you guys about a case out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, that is Sumner County. And we have a missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers.
Can you hear it?
And I spoke with his mom today on a telephone call, and I wanted to make sure that I gave you the latest update on what is happening in this missing case. Sebastian is 15 years old, and I want to get over here and share his missing flyer because here on Duchess, we share the accurate information, all facts. We don't want to mislead people. I want to make sure that we're sharing out all of the information. And I want to also give a big shout out to Smiley and Trev Time and all the creators that are covering Sebastian's case. It turns out that I have a friend of my sister's who reached out to me. She sent me a text and said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that Sebastian's mother is my cousin. And I would really appreciate it if you could please talk about Sebastian's case and get his information out there. I appreciate all that you do."
That's awesome. That's awesome. That a family member can reach out to somebody that they know is established on the YouTube streets and that is known for her honesty and her stability and her integrity. And she's also recognizing other content creators. I wasn't a content creator at that time. So there's no reason she would. I don't want to say I'm selfish, okay? I'm not that way. I wasn't here. I wasn't even part of, to me, at that time, to me, YouTube was a nuisance. So, anyway. But I fell in love with YouTube because of the Sebastian Rogers case and what content creators were doing with this case. So thank you, Duchess, for commenting to. I can understand that, H. Davis. I felt the same way yesterday, but I had just taken a few days to be with family, so I didn't figure it would be right for me to take a few days for myself. But I got things I got to do, and my husband's taking a couple of extra days off when he gets home to help me get my office. I'm going to move it, and I'm going to restructure it, and I'm going to put it somewhere else, and he's going to help me. So, all right. So, but Duchess she's great for recognizing other people. So, can I be her when I grow up? Even though I'm probably old enough to be her mother. Okay.
And she put me in touch with Sebastian. We did speak at length today, and I did record a few things that I think it's very important for you guys to know what's going on in this case. His mother, his father, and his stepfather are very, very worried about what is going on, what's happening. There has been a lot of search efforts. So I want to bring you up to speed on what I know that's happening in this case. So I'm going to get down here, and if you hear the chewing sound, it's my pit bull and her deer antler, and I apologize in advance, but I have to keep her occupied. Here we have Sebastian's poster. I want to thank the Aware Foundation of Virginia. Thank you, Kenny Geralds, for making all of these wonderful missing flyers for all of the missing people out here in the United States. This is for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Please share to locate. Sebastian is age 15. He has actual light brown, sandy blonde hair. According to his mother, he has brown eyes. He is 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighs 120 pounds. Sebastian is considered endangered missing. He is from Hendersonville, Tennessee, and he went missing on Sunday, February the 26th of 2024. Sebastian has been missing.
Wait a minute. I think she misspoke. He went missing on the Sunday, the 25th, or early morning of the Monday, the 26th. I think she meant to say Monday. I'm sorry.
Today for 7 days. He was last seen near Beach High School on Stafford Court. He was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants. Sebastian is autistic and he likes to hide under things. So TBI is asking residents who live near the search area around Beach High School along Long Hollow Pike to please check your outbuildings, your garages, your cars, and under your decks, anywhere where someone may hide and take shelter in case Sebastian used any of these as hiding places. And if you have seen or know about where...
Okay. I wonder if this flyer was written incorrectly before somebody had all the information, because I know he was a student at Beach High School, but Beach High School, from what I can see on the map, okay, is about a half a mile away from the house, maybe a mile away from the house. And this should read that he was last seen in his home with his mother, should it not? Or is this a clue that maybe his mother made an exchange and he ended up going with somebody else near the high school? I don't know. Okay, let's move forward a little bit.
Let me go over here. I see that I just got a text. And Chris, are you down for a Q&A? You want to do that? I know that we talked earlier and you were thinking about, you were going to let me know if you want to come up and speak. I am more than happy to send you a link and you can come up on the live stream for becoming a member. We're so happy to have you.
Very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him.
And I told them all about your channel and the wonderful work that you're doing for the missing, and that I wanted to connect them to you because I felt like that you might be able to give them some local resources and help.
Now, I don't know who T-Rev is. But it looks like he's covering Summerwell's case as well. So at this point in the game, and I say that lightly, I'm going to say he seems like a pretty good person.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm in these. I mean, you know me well enough to know that in these kind of cases, whatever I can do, small, big, whatever it is, it's all about us all playing our part. And so I'm happy to help however
Absolutely.
I can, especially if it's here somewhere I can, I can be
Right.
within driving distance ever get to.
Right.
For example, the cases here with the girls, and then now this case in Middle Tennessee.
Exactly. And see how I'm here in South Carolina, but I do have friends that live in Tennessee, and that's really important for me to just try to extend my reach. I know a lot of search and rescue people, and I make missing flyers myself.
We forgot to light our sage. So let's do that right now. Because we don't want any kind of nonsense going on here. All right. Sage is going. We can do good now.
And it's good to have connections, because if I have a case, just like his mother's cousin reached out to me, she knows me personally, and I was like, well, I know a bunch of people that I can call on that will be able to help get this case out. So it looks like that we have them coming up on panel. So if you guys will please welcome Sebastian's parents to the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you joining us.
You're welcome.
We had a really good conversation today, and I appreciate you being willing to talk to me.
Now everybody knows now that the K is for Katie Proudfoot, and then his name, Chris Proudfoot, is Sebastian's stepfather. He supposedly wasn't even home when Sebastian went missing. In my opinion, in my opinion, he has no right to say anything. That's just my thought.
About Sebastian going missing. So I guess I will just kind of start out with tell me what happened the day that Sebastian went missing. I know that his mom said that he was having a good day. He had had a great weekend. So do you want to walk us through what that looks like again for everybody?
He did have a really good weekend, actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, he was playing.
Mhm.
When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, "I love you, Mama," and he said, "I love you, puppies." A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
He wasn't here. Where was he? Where was Sebastian at 6 in the morning? Where was he? Her face, her voice to me doesn't sound like somebody that's upset. It sounds like somebody who's trying to fake and sound like she's crying. That's just what it sounds like to me.
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
It's okay. Take your time.
Sebastian does not have a history of running. I mean, the young man doesn't go outside very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6.
I've watched enough of Behavior Panel because I like that show, and Dr. G that talks about behavior. And then I also watched Deception Detective. Now I know I am a year and a half into this case. I am way late and I shouldn't even be starting at the beginning, but that's the only way I'm going to get to know. But if I put in the knowledge of what I already know from what I've already learned, saying and means that you've got a rehearsed dialogue that you're going to go through, and you're trying to think of what you're supposed to say next in the dialogue because the question wasn't asked when you thought it should have been asked. So now you've got to go in your brain and scramble around and find out what part of the dialogue do you need. So that's just my thought.
He has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work.
Okay. So we know that Katie had just bought Sebastian new shoes. We know that Seth, his father, had just bought him new boots for the winter, okay? But he didn't take either pair of those. Are they sure he's not wearing the old ones? Could he be wearing his old shoes? Because if he walked out, could he be wearing his old shoes?
You were out of town at work,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way
Okay.
there's transparency across the board.
Okay, why does Chris need to insert his little sections of the scenario? We would have all just been fine if we'd thought Katie got up at midnight and went to bed. Why does Chris have to put himself into that scenario by saying there's a phone call? If that's what he's about to talk about. I haven't seen this full interview, but if that's what he's about to talk about, let's find out.
Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening.
Me and the mom. Why doesn't he call her Katie? Why doesn't he say my wife? The mom? That is so demeaning. I'm sorry.
We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
Mhm.
So then mom does go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has,
You can't search several times in 3-minute times. I can't walk through my house in 3 minutes and search every room. I can't do it.
called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department.
Full feathers. They talked on the phone for 20 minutes and he texted Seth for, after 17 minutes, he texted Seth. And then 10 more minutes later is when he called. So they had been on the phone for 30 minutes before he called the dispatch.
Because that's what we're supposed to do. And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
And you had told me that there hadn't been any particular situation that had occurred where you felt like there would have been something that happened. And I also had asked you if there were any friends that Sebastian might have possibly left the house with, or if he had any contact with anyone on social media. Do you want to comment about that again?
He doesn't have a social media.
Okay.
And the only friends that he had were a couple of kids in school.
Okay.
All the kids that have had any interaction with him have been interviewed and asked.
Okay.
We as parents know how social media can be,
Right.
and seeing how kids can be easily manipulated.
He's very young in mind.
Yes, he may be. He's
Right.
about 15, and he's 15 and 8.
See how kids can be manipulated. Okay. Starting this day, when this interview was taken, 7 days after Sebastian went missing, is when, in my opinion, Chris Proudfoot started manipulating social media. This is the beginning of what we know today as a whole bunch of misinformation. Just my opinion.
Age in his body, but his mind is not caught up to his body. But that is something that goes through with autistic children, as everybody would know.
Right.
But for the record, I am a very strict parent. He does not have social media, not in our household. He doesn't online game. I am I'm pretty strict when it comes to that kind of situation.
Well, that's good. That's good, Chris, that you have control of that, because social media can be very dangerous for young kids, because they don't realize who they may be talking to on social media. So it's always good to have that awareness and to make sure you're monitoring, what your kids are doing. So I had asked you both, did you have any idea what would make Sebastian want to suddenly leave the house? And you told me, well, that's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. All the detectives, they've all asked that same question. What is it that happened that caused him to leave the house? And I know you must be so worried and so concerned. Is there anything, if Sebastian were listening to this live stream right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
I mean, it's pretty simple. This boy has a very large family that everybody is asking the question, where are you? We love you, and please come home.
Yes. We definitely need to find him as soon as possible. If you live in this area, please search your property every day.
Okay. I don't know how much longer Chris and Katie go on there, but this is the gist of it. This is the beginning of Chris Proudfoot trying to manipulate. And he hasn't yet, the connection between these two haven't yet been made. I'm understanding there will be a close connection later, but it hasn't been made yet. All right, so let's jump off of Duchess, and then we'll go over to News Channel 4. Okay, I just want my baby to be okay. Parents of missing teen with autism discuss disappearance. Let me see. I'm not going to play all of it because of fair use. So let's see what we're going to learn during this video.
Tonight, the parents of a missing teen in Sumner County described to us exclusively how they feel on day 8 of their son's disappearance. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Marius Payton.
And I'm Lauren Lowry. Sebastian Rogers is 15. He was last seen by his parents on February.
So is this the next day after they interviewed with Duchess? Is this tomorrow?
February 25th in Hendersonville. Sebastian has autism, and he's gone without his medication this whole time. And since then, authorities have searched by air, by foot, and on horseback.
Helicopters, drones, and dive teams have also been brought in to try to find him. Today, his parents spoke exclusively to our Holly Thompson.
She's live tonight in Sumner County. Holly, I imagine it was quite an emotional interview.
Certainly was. It is hard for any of us to imagine the emotions that this family is going through right now. But we know one thing is certain. They remain positive. They are holding on to hope that their son Sebastian will return home safely.
Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and return home.
He's going to walk through that door, and this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone. Within minutes, Katie says she was on the phone with Chris, who was working out of town, and they quickly called 911.
And he's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
Okay. Did you see that action she just made? I've been saying this ever since I walked in August. Okay. I don't know how to back it up in just a few seconds.
I don't know.
Did you see that? Watch.
I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
Okay. In my opinion, when she does that and blows that air out like that, that's in the beginning, at this point, the first time I saw this video, I thought that's a signal to somebody that she's fixing to tell a story, a lie, an untruth. That's my thought. I've been thinking it all along. Because later down the line at Christmas time, when she does her next interview, well, not really her next interview, but when she does her interview at Christmas time, and she talks about how Sebastian turned 16, and she says, would have been, and then she turned 16. Okay? So she does this breathing thing, in my opinion, when she's about to tell a lie.
He's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child
If he's a good kid, Chris Proudfoot, why'd you beat him with a belt? Huh?
by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished. No sign of him on any video throughout the community. Thousands of miles logged by law enforcement, canines, helicopters, even dive teams, and no sign of him. Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't.
Okay, this is 8 days in. At this point, I want to know who's pointing fingers. Who is already pointing fingers and thinking Katie or Chris is guilty? 8 days in. What is causing that? What caused that? That's what I want to know. What caused that?
Quite understand. I wish people would step back, take a different wide open view, and not assume what they know. It's just better to stick to the facts.
Are you both in the clear?
I can tell you that Mom, myself, and the father have worked very fully and cooperatively with all agencies across the board. We have anything that they've wanted, we have provided.
What do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
That we love you so much and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
Now, if he had such a good day, why would she say you're not in trouble? Okay, maybe she wants him to know that if he was to walk home at this point, he wouldn't be in trouble for leaving. But that's not what she said. Apparently, there's something underlying that made this be the reason why Sebastian's not there. Apparently something is underlying. We don't know what it is yet.
Now, Katie did tell me that even though Sebastian does have autism, he is a smart teenager. He is highly functional. They say if you see him, say his name, say Sebastian, and he'll respond. He'll at least acknowledge you. And I can tell you, this is my home. This is my community. And the people here are strong. They say they will continue to search. They will continue to hope and continue to pray for Sebastian's safe return.
Yeah. at that point, I believe that the people were saying that they're going to continue to help, they're going to continue to help, they're going to continue to help. Right up until Chris Proudfoot started shoving them away and threatening them for trying to help. I mean, serial. Okay, this started playing and it shouldn't have started playing. Okay, I'm going to bring up another screen. Okay, this is from Court TV. Okay, let's play this and see.
He just come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." He went to bed. He was doing.
See, we've already heard 2 other interviews. Both people asked about what happened the day before he went missing. She never said, "Good night, Mama, good night, puppies," and he went to bed. She never said that. In the other 2 interviews, why would she need to add it in this interview?
Something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep."
You have an autistic child. Why did you not go check on him? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make her look like a bad parent. I know there are parents out there who don't go check on their kids when they hear something. And I'm not saying they're a bad parent. I'm a helicopter parent. And as a helicopter parent, if my son gets up and walks across the floor to go to the bathroom across the hallway or whatever, I hear it. I come upstairs. I say, "What's going on?" "I just had to go to the bathroom." Okay, fine. I know my son's okay at that moment. Okay?
And about midnight, I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock, I went to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when he wasn't here.
So there's stepdad and mom's the one really talking, right? Describing what happened that day. That's on the Chronicles of Olivia. Really fascinating interview. I showed that clip, or a bigger piece of that clip, to Sebastian's dad, Seth, on the show last night. And here's part of his reaction to that.
"I'm not here to sling mud, but why is she asking Chris to verify what she did on Sunday when Chris wasn't here on Sunday?"
Very good question, Seth. If Chris had been in Memphis like he said, how would he know exactly what Katie did unless she was on the phone with him all day long, which I doubt.
Okay, so now let's play a longer piece of that clip so you can see the dynamic between Katie and Chris as Katie's talking about what happened that day. Let's watch.
We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call and asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that. We went to BJ's. Had a good time there.
Well, she's leaving out that she met her niece's mother, or his niece's mother, at BJ's. That's where she handed the child back to her own mother. But she also forgot the part about while she had the niece, she went to a friend's house, and Sebastian and the niece were at the friend's house. I don't know where this is going to come in any interview or if it ever does, but I've heard something on Facebook or something about there being a friend that was involved.
Eat up colossal popcorn. Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, he's 15, snacks. We went to the bowling alley. And then from there, we went to dinner. Came home, He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway. About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. He's come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep." And about midnight, I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock, I went to wake him up for school Monday morning, and that's when he wasn't here.
Okay, our guest back with us, Tiffany Lee, Dr. Carol Lieberman, Laura.
Okay, so I don't want to listen to all of this part because it's their opinions, and it's not Chris and Katie actually talking. So those were my questions with that. Okay, this one, the whole thing wouldn't load, so I'm just going to go through what I can see of it. I'm going to pull it up here. It says the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. Now this is from, and then they were gone. I don't know this. I guess it's a blog site. I don't know about it. It just came up here. The disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, a troubling case with few leads. And then it talks about how old he was, when his birthday was, and everything. And what makes Sebastian's disappearance even more puzzling is that nothing seems to add up. His shoes were still at his home, and none of his personal belongings, not even his Nintendo Switch, were missing. Extensive searches involving drones, helicopters, and canines have sourced or scoured the area, but so far there's been no sign of him. What's more, the dynamics with Sebastian's family have raised eyebrows. His parents, Katie and Seth, split up years ago, but the relationship between them has remained strained ever since. The backdrop of custody battles, accusations, and abuse, and the overall teen family environment makes the situation even more complex. There are also concerns over the disciplinary methods used by Chris, Sebastian's stepfather, who allegedly used a belt for punishment. This has sparked questions about what life was really like for Sebastian at home. What was life really like for Sebastian at home? Did he have such a good day? Because the rest of the days after that were not going to be such a good day. I'm just I don't know. Was he given such a good day because the rest of the days after that would be something that he wasn't going to get used to? I don't know. But that's my question. Why sorry, I clicked a button I didn't need clicking. Why was he given such a wonderful weekend that day? Why was that Sunday so special for him? What happened on Saturday? What was Saturday like? What was Friday like after he got home from school? We know he talked to his father on Thursday, on the phone Thursday night. What was Friday and Saturday like for Sebastian? Why was Sunday all of a sudden so special? Fun fact, I made spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. Okay. That to me says I don't normally cook breakfast. He normally eats cereal or a Pop-Tart or whatever teenage kids eat, okay? But she made breakfast that morning. Why? Why? Okay. And this says case files for missing and endangered. This is from crimetimelines.com. And it's got Sebastian Rogers, interviews with Seth Rogers, interview, Proudfoot, FBI, TBI, Sumner County. And this page has lists. Okay, this is the Duchess interview. This is the one we watched on the news. This is Smiley's. This is Nashville. I'm not going to pull all these up. And here's even they talked to Nancy Grace. And by the time they had talked to Nancy Grace in March, a month after Sebastian went missing, their story had completely changed again. The narrative changes so much in these stories. It's just why? Why? I'm going to leave this page open because I'm going to come back and I'm going to watch all of these interviews and maybe there's something I can learn, but we don't have time to sit here right now and use somebody else's information and screen snipe their whole interview or whatever. But I'm going to watch them and I'm going to see if I can learn something new. We'll go to the next one. Okay, this is Reddit. And, whoops, my trash can fell over here. It says, oh, this word has come up in my life so much in the last few days. If anybody thinks I'm a narcissist, I'm sorry. I'm not. I put everybody else before I put myself. I'm always the last person I think about. So, just if anybody thinks I'm a narcissist, you can go ahead and let me know. That's your choice. You're not going to hurt my feelings. If I'm a narcissist now, that means I've grown a backbone since I've grown up. So that's a good thing. All right. So this is Chris Proudfoot, the picture of a narcissistic abuser. Is anyone getting the sense that CP is quite manipulative and full of himself? Notice the way he feels the need to interject consistently in every interview. We've noticed that. How Katie looks to him for approval. We've noticed that. She doesn't want to answer any questions without looking at him first. It just seems that way. Notice how many times his stories have changed. We've noticed that. Funny how he admitted that he got CPS called on him for beating Sebastian with a belt, then denied it later. Right? Right. Interesting that Katie and Chris refused to talk to Seth and just dipped out of town. Seth seems so much more upset than Katie and Chris. That's true. From what I understand, Seth was in the process of, this is February, school would be out at the end of May, 3 more months, and Sebastian would have gone and moved in with Seth, his biological father. Ciao. I have a good night. And then if Katie and Chris didn't ever want to see Sebastian again, that would be on them. Why couldn't they have waited 3 more months? Why couldn't they wait 3 more months? And then if they didn't want to see Sebastian again, that'd be on them. Why is Sebastian been moved so that nobody gets to see him? I mean, just because Chris and Katie don't want to see Sebastian, as it appears, then why would Chris and Katie not want Seth to be able to see him? Why take Seth out of the picture completely? Why not wait the 3 months? Or I'm sure, if he'd have gone to live with Seth right away because of a whatever emergency situation or whatever, Seth would have handled it. He would have handled it. He could have gotten him online schooling from his home to Sebastian's school. They did it during COVID. Why couldn't they do it during the last 3 months of school? My theory now I don't know who's talking. I don't know whose interview this is. I don't know who on Reddit posted this. But it says, my theory at the moment is that Chris was abusive towards Sebastian and Katie knows it. Perhaps the abuse was so bad that Sebastian got hurt or ran away on his own violation. Are you okay? Later, getting lost or injured. Worst case scenario is that they did something to him in relation to the custody battles, or because they didn't want to deal with have a good day, with his special needs. Or maybe Chris told Katie that he was done with Sebastian, or he took things into his own hands. It doesn't seem like Sebastian got very much support, does it? Katie heard a sound at night and didn't even check on him. The security cameras weren't working that night. Sebastian left the house barefoot and didn't leave a scent. The dogs, the canine dogs that came in, the scent trackers, they didn't even get Sebastian taking the trash out on their own driveway. They didn't even get a scent of Sebastian taking the trash out. It doesn't seem like Sebastian, Katie heard a sound and didn't even check on him. The security cameras weren't working that night. Sebastian left the house barefoot and didn't leave a scent. Chris had not 1, but 4 ex-wives. Now, I can't complain about that. I have 3 ex-husbands. My husband has 3 ex-wives. So, we're almost 60. But that's neither here nor there. However many exes you have doesn't make what kind of a person you are now. Okay? Your ex is in the past. You learned something from them, and what you can bring to the new relationship is what not to do from mistakes that were made during the old relationship. That's what my husband and I have discussed. He yelled at her right after she gave birth. Wait. Chris abused his ex's children, tried to force her to abort her child, and punished her for being pregnant. He yelled at her right after she gave birth. Now, this is talking about Chris's Faith's mother, okay? And this is about how Chris treated Faith's mother. Faith is Chris's biological daughter, okay? He hit the baby for crying the father who abused Jeannie Wiley did the same thing. Now, I don't know who Jeannie Wiley is, but I'm thinking he's whoever the writer of this is was comparing Chris Proudfoot to Jeannie Wiley. Then he tried to get custody. He didn't deserve for revenge. Then Sebastian goes missing right before that. From what I've seen in interviews and on people talking here and people talking there, I don't think Chris Proudfoot was trying to get custody of Faith. I think he was trying to get Kathy Bowersock's custody of Faith. Okay? Step parents are disproportionately involved in the abuse of partners' children, and autistic children are disproportionately victimized by narcissistic adults, often being treated as the family scapegoat and or as a burden. These children tend to receive discipline that us normal people consider cruel and unusual, such as aggressive threats and beatings. From what I'm reading, Chris Proudfoot sounds like a classic narcissistic abuser, and narcissistic people only care about two things: control and supply. People to feed their egos. Hearing Nina's testimony was awful. It seemed entirely genuine, unlike Chris and Katie. I feel confident that Sebastian was afraid of Chris Proudfoot, and for good reason. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a criminal investigation soon. But I really hope I'm wrong. So, a thought crossed my mind when I was reading this about narcissistic abusers. And narcissistic people only care about two things: control and supply. People to feed their egos. When they get tired of complaining to somebody who's right in their own vicinity all the time, they're going to complain to somebody who's not in their own vicinity very often. Somebody who's close but distant at the same time. And if Sebastian's going back and forth to Seth's every other weekend, and he's with Seth during the summer times and on spring break and at Christmas break and Thanksgiving break and these kind of things, he's during these times when Sebastian is with Seth, his father, Chris has Katie all to himself. Everything could be hunky-dory. They don't have to think about Sebastian because they know he's with somebody who can take care of him. But during those days when Sebastian is with them, the whole dynamic changes. And the narcissistic person is going, my mom used to say when I was growing up, I used to say, why am I being treated like this? Why am I being soloed out? And my mom used to say, rather than telling me the reason, the answer to my question, she would say, you hurt the ones you love the most. So the fact that I've been called a narcissist, and things have been going on in my life lately that I don't agree with, that have really hurt me. But if I go by what my mother said, I'm being hurt by the one that loves me the most. So that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Okay. You can see a bunch of emails coming in. Yeah, this one. Maybe it's this one. This is also from Crime Time Lines. This is case file for missing and endangered. If you have any information concerning anyone on this page, please contact your local FBI office or local police department. Case filed, cold cases, missing persons. And then it says Sebastian Rogers. We got that on the other page. Interview with Seth Rogers, which was Sebastian's dad. Interview the Proudfoots. Is this the same? No. This one's with Seth. And they're looking for Sebastian. I don't know who this dude is, and I don't know who this dude is. This is Seth, and this is JLR Investigates. These are more things, people who have talked about the case. And look at this. It says interviews. 3/4, 3/11, 3/11, 3/14, 3/18, 3/20, 3/21, all the way down to 4/5. April 5th, silence. After April 5th, silence. And then it says news interviews. These are the news channels who have tried to cover it. Seth Rogers, Caitlin Miller, Fox. Okay, this is a printout of what her and Seth talked about. This is what Seth said on the Pascal show. Last conversation Seth had with Sebastian. When was the last time you had a conversation with Sebastian? Seth said Thursday. Thursday before he left. Post before he disappeared? Or you mean before he left? Seth said before he left. I mean, because he's gone. He's gone. He's left the house of his own free will, or he didn't. And if he went outside, I don't know what happened to him. So Seth wasn't sure at this time if Sebastian walked away or if he didn't walk away, because he says he left the house of his own free will or he didn't. And if he went outside, I don't know what happened to him. Seth Rogers talked on Channel 5. Duchess talked to Chris and Katie. Sebastian Rogers was on Nancy Grace. So I'm guessing that's when Nancy Grace talked to, either she talked about Sebastian or she talked to Chris and Katie. Mr. Rogers, thank you for being with us. So I guess she talked to Seth. Can you recount for us when you first learned Sebastian was missing? Seth says, I know, it just seems completely surreal. There's no words for it. When I found out he was gone, I headed over to Katie's house to see what was going on, and he's not there. I don't know where he's at. I've been looking for him every day. Seth, what have you been doing to look for him every day? Seth, handing out flyers every day, speaking on podcasts, doing face-to-face interviews on the news. I've been to the south side of Nashville, Franklin, Bellevue, Hendersonville, Gallatin, Clarksville, Oak Grove, Kentucky, all to spread flyers. I want everybody to see my son and know he's missing. If you see him, call 911. I need my son back. And if you ask Seth today, he would say this exact same words. In my opinion, Seth had absolutely nothing to do with Sebastian being missing. Pascal says, do you think it's a possibility someone could be holding your son against his will? Seth, I look at it like I've been on the internet, I've been on the TV, I've even been on the radio, which probably most people don't even realize. But if my son were able to hear me or see me on TV or on the internet, he would know to give me a call, okay? Pascal said, have you ever known him to watch the news? No, okay, never known him to watch the news. No. So if he's not watching the news, he probably wouldn't even know he was on the news, correct? I mean, I haven't had cable in probably 9 or so years. Pascal says, now I know tonight in the news interview you said, you know he's probably somewhere playing video games. Do you know if he played these video games online with other people? Nah. No, he didn't, or no, you don't know. Said, I don't know because, well, it's like at my house, a lot of the games that he was playing were on my account. And a lot of the games were also games like Spider-Man, Batman, Arkham Knights, okay? So then Pascal says, I play a lot of games in my, certain games, a lot of you know games where you're in lobbies with other people. I play a lot of online gaming. Seth said, I do that. I will do a mobile on my phone. He would be sitting there playing video games he played on the Switch. He didn't play online with people. He played single player games. So, I mean, I'm gonna go through this page as well because there might be something in here I don't know. And this is Seth with Pascal again. This was a long interview to try to read it and not listen to it. To listen to it, it wouldn't be. But this is Seth on Pascal on March 28th, 2024. And this is on March 29th, 2024. So the very next day, he talked to Pascal again. The very next day. So, and then this is another long interview. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. That I want to get past. Okay, this is just a little 6-minute sound clip. And it's from Court and Crime with Tia. I'm sure I've used this one, particularly this one, in other contents that I've done. Okay?
Sharply divided. Some are convinced she played a role in Sebastian's disappearance, while others believe she's entirely innocent. Personally, I'm on the fence about Katie, and maybe that's a good thing. It allows me to approach this case with a more objective mindset, free from the emotional biases that can cloud judgment. But here's one thing
That's the way I feel too. If I'm on the fence about all of the parents, and I'm here trying to learn both sides of the street before I form, I have a little bit of an opinion of what I think, but I think I probably only have that opinion because I'm going with what everybody else thinks. I haven't watched all these interviews and learned all this stuff to make the decision for myself.
I do believe, out of all three parents, Katie might be the key to unlocking what really happened to Sebastian the night he went missing. After all, it was under her roof that Sebastian disappeared. Seth, Sebastian's biological father, was working that night, and there's video evidence to prove it. Her husband, Sebastian's stepdad, was also away, working out of town, and that's been corroborated as well.
Not truthfully. Not completely. There is no video evidence that I have heard of that can place Chris Proudfoot in Memphis, Tennessee, or whatever that town is across the state line, showing that he was in that town during the time frame. Okay?
Today, I want to focus on a few of Katie's interviews. Unlike Seth, Katie hasn't done as many, and she's been criticized for that. You'd think that as a mother of a missing child, she'd be out there doing interview after interview, pleading for her son's safe return. But I'm not in Katie's shoes. She has stated that she's been allegedly hounded and stalked by a YouTuber, which might have made her reluctant to do more interviews. The online coverage of this case has been extensive. Some YouTubers have sided with Katie, others have been against her, but regardless of their stance, many have covered the case with a level of class and integrity. Unfortunately, there are those who have shown no class, no integrity at all. Maybe if I were in Katie's position, I would have shied away from interviews as well. Or maybe I would have been out there every day, doing whatever it took to find my child. One thing that stands out to me about Katie's interviews is the dramatic change in her demeanor. In her very first interview, she seemed devastated. She was crying, clearly experiencing deep anguish and sadness. But in her next interview, we didn't see the same raw.
I don't know. In the first interview, I didn't see as much crying and sadness. I saw what looked like fake crying, but I didn't see no tears. I didn't see her using no Kleenex. I didn't see her nose snotting. I didn't see any of that. I don't know.
Emotion. Katie appeared more composed, almost detached. The sadness that was so palpable in the first interview was noticeably absent. Then came the Nancy Grace interview, and I have to admit, this is where my perspective started to shift. During this interview, Katie seemed disconnected, almost matter of fact. The emotional weight that was present in her earlier interviews was gone. It was also during this interview that we learned Katie was no longer at the family home. Instead, she was with Chris, her husband, who was working on a job site far from home.
Where are the dogs? Where are Sebastian's dogs? If they've been away since March, sometime in March, middle of March, in their RV, they've been gone from their house. Now, they may have a house cleaner come in and water the flowers and what have you, but I don't think they have somebody come into that house every day just to take the dogs out and water the dogs and mow the yard and clean up the dog poop and what have you. Where are the dogs? I doubt that they've got dogs with them in that little bitty RV. Just saying. I'm just saying.
They had packed up their camper and left town. Katie was by her husband's side, supporting him, but not at home waiting for Sebastian. To me, this speaks volumes.
It does to me too. Why would you go support your husband when you're supposed to be supporting your son and looking for your son?
It suggests that they don't believe Sebastian will return home. Katie being with Chris on his job site, far from the family home, tells me she's not looking for her son, and she's not waiting for him to come back. This is fundamentally disturbing. Now, I do want to acknowledge that they were allegedly receiving death threats, which they cited as the reason for leaving. So take from that what you will. Some might see this as a justified reason to leave.
I'm going to take from that where's the, oh, if I had my clip pulled up, let me see. Oops. Let's see, go back. I'm looking for a clip. I could have used it earlier when that false statement came up into my chat that I deleted. I'm gonna play it again.
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. Bullshit.
There we go. That. Yeah, that's what I say. That's how I feel. Because Seth and Katie were the ones threatening. They threatened the United Cajun Navy. They threatened Dog the Bounty Hunter. They threatened anybody that's been out trying to search, except for the people that are on their side of the street, trying to make them look like the king and queen of the castle. The people that can go out in the searching field with dollar bills and straws that have powder in them. That's the kind of people Chris and Katie wanted to become.
Others might see it as a convenient excuse. Were these death threats investigated? Could they have been fabricated to justify their departure?
That's what I think. I think exactly that. I think.
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
That's what I think. That's all fabricated. It's all BS.
Has law enforcement looked into these threats? I find Katie's behavior strange, leaving the family home to accompany her husband, who was going back to work. Is Chris a kindergartner who needs his mom to hold his hand? On the other hand, if the death threats were real, maybe Chris wasn't comfortable with Katie being at home alone. The whole situation is weird and raises more questions than answers. The stark contrast between Katie's first interview and her appearance on Nancy Grace is unsettling. It's like we're seeing
I agree with that. Very unsettling. Very, very unsettling.
two completely different people, and that's hard to reconcile. In her initial interview, she was the grieving mother, desperate for answers, torn apart by the uncertainty of her son's fate. By the time she sat down with Nancy Grace, that urgency seemed to have faded, replaced by a calm, almost resigned demeanor. It's a change that's difficult to understand, and it makes you wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. It's also worth noting that in the Nancy Grace interview, Katie revealed that she and Chris had left the family home because of the alleged threats. They packed up and left, rather than staying put, in case Sebastian returned. This decision feels off to me. If you truly believe your child could come home at any moment, wouldn't you want to be there waiting for them? The fact that Katie chose to leave instead suggests that she's not expecting Sebastian to walk through that door again. And that's troubling. But then again, we have to consider the possibility that the threats were real and that Katie felt unsafe staying at home. If that's the case, then her decision to leave makes more sense. But it still doesn't sit right with me. The image of Katie leaving her home, the place where Sebastian went missing, to be with her husband on a job site, is jarring. It doesn't match the picture of a mother desperate to find her son. So what are we to make of all this? Katie's behavior is certainly unusual, and it raises a lot of questions. Is she hiding something? Or is she simply reacting to a situation that's beyond her control? It's hard to say for sure, but one thing is clear, there's more to this story than meets the eye. But now, we'd like to hear from you all.
I agree. There's more to this than we know. More than meets the eye. And the last one, I want to show you where I got all these sources from. There it is. Took it a minute. I use a site called Grok. You can get it on Twitter, X. I'm sorry. You can find Grok on X. And I found it because of Mob Crew. And I just typed in, can I have all information about Sebastian Windrake Rogers, Sebastian Rogers, or Chris Proudfoot, or Katie Proudfoot? That's why I didn't get anything about Seth, because I meant to say Seth and I typed Sebastian again. So, but this assesses that Seth's efforts, like daily searches and media outreach, complement their actions. Together, they're trying to keep the case in the spotlight, which is crucial. And there's a whole bunch of information. If you just go to Grok, you can find out a lot. So I'm leaving this on my computer so that tomorrow I can go through the same thing and find out some more things to look at. And maybe we can get some more information. And all right, so I'm going to drop this off the screen. I don't close it. Okay. So what do you think? What is your opinion? If Sebastian had gone home, okay? Let's just say a what if, okay? If Chris and Katie are gone, they're gone, they're gone, they're gone. They're in their RV, they're in another state, they're halfway across the state that they live in. Because Tennessee is not a square state, it's a long, flat state, okay? So they're a long ways away from home. And if he went back to work in Nashville, I don't have a clue where he's working. It's not my business. But let's say, because Katie's already said that they don't have a security system. Now I have heard that since they're gone, as much as they're gone, they have had a security system put in. Okay? I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true that is. But what happens if they're gone and Sebastian did go home? Okay, he could get in the house. He's got the code to the door, so he can get in the house. I'm sure that the neighbors are not sitting there with binoculars watching Chris and Katie's house every minute of every day saying, oh, there's movement. Oh, the curtain moved. Oh, I seen a light come on. Nobody's doing that crap. If it was my neighborhood, this neighborhood right here where I lived, people don't look at my house. People don't notice when I come and go. I do not mean anything to any of my neighbors. They're nice to me. I'm nice to them. That's it. We talk, over the fence talk when there's not a fence on either side right now. But I talk to them a little bit, not very often. I talk to them a little bit, not very often. Mostly with them, it's about my dogs because they don't like my dogs. So, but, it is what it is. I think Sebastian being gone is BS. They could have waited 3 more months. 3 more months. They could have waited. And Sebastian would have gone to Seth. And Seth would be able to take care of Sebastian because Seth and Sebastian didn't have the kind of problems that Chris and Sebastian had. I'm just saying. So tomorrow we'll do part 2. I hope you come back and listen for it. And see what else we can learn. See if there's something we've missed. Something that didn't catch our eye the first time. And Let's hope Sebastian comes home. Let's hope Chris and Katie or whoever has Sebastian, let's hope Sebastian gets away and gets where he can call 911 and call his daddy. Thank you, Travis. I don't know who you are, but thank you for coming in. Thank you for watching my channel. So, all right, tomorrow we'll do part 2. Do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason that they smile today, and get luck.